I thought you were going to kiss my hand there for a second.
Actually, I happen to know about the technique of hand kissing. You don't kiss the hand. You kiss your own thumb.
Oh, so
that you don't bite the...
Oh, you
and you don't bite the rock off of the ring or anything.
Did you get that?
Quorum of One was is the title of my satire site. I don't update it anymore because I do a regular humor column now for ParisUpdate.com.
It's gonna hold up.
Well,
so what's your name?
I'm David Jaggard, known on Facebook as David S. Jaggard because all the other David Jaggards already opened David Jaggard pages and David Jaggard Gmail addresses, so I couldn't get them. Oh God, I was born with stage fright. I'm a very high-strung, nervous person. I remember being about 3 years old and my babysitter asked me to be the ring boy at her wedding.
The ring boy? The ring boy?
Yeah. The little cute kid who brings the ring up on the cushion. And I didn't really understand what weddings were yet, or what I was supposed to do, and I asked for a description of what I was supposed to do, and they said, you walk up in front of everybody in church holding this ring on a cushion. And the idea of walking up in front of everybody in church petrified me. I couldn't even speak just thinking about it. I've been high-strung and nervous ever since. That is hardwired, I think.
How do you overcome it now?
I don't overcome it. It gives me an edge while I'm doing a performance that I can't really control, I hope.
Welcome to Paris Up Open Mic every Thursday from now onwards. I am your host Emily and it is a pleasure to have you all here this evening. Bienvenue à ce Open Mic, tout le temps en anglais mais dans toutes les langues. Mais ce soir on a la chance d'avoir un featured performer, I should say. That's the guy! You've got your groupies in the back. So I'm your host Emily, it's a pleasure to have you here. And what's going to happen is there are going to be some phone calls first of all. 10 readers, the last of which is our fabulous featured reader. I'll tell you more about him later on. And we are going to start this evening.
Anyway, I've been writing satire actually since I was 15 years old. I had a piece published in the Des Moines Register. I grew up in Iowa and I had a piece published in the Des Moines Register when I was 15 in the humor column on the back page of the Sunday paper. And I got $5 for it, and that is about the most I've earned since then from writing satire. But I started doing a website called Quorum of One in 1998, and that's why I'm here tonight at Paris Lit Up to read excerpts from Quorum of One.
Quorum of One. Okay, that's your day job?
No, I work as a translator and a journalist and editor, and nobody earns money anymore from actually writing humor. I wish I did.
But you earn smiles.
Sorry?
You earn smiles.
Yeah. I have smiles and some fans, and I hope some of them show up tonight. But
they will.
Before we move on to the next person, I just want to say, everyone get out. What are you doing on the 7th of June? Anyone? Random date. 7th of June, got plans?
I'll be here.
To be on demand, so if you are a poet that's quite demanding, come and see us after it. So I think that's the shout-outs that I've got so far. 7th of June, what date?
7th of June.
Kate, you're organising this, you know, stop being the guy in the class that was the first one. Apart from Kate and Jason, what's the date?
7th of June.
What time John Hegley is on?
John Hegley is on 5 o'clock. John Hegley is on 5 o'clock, okay. So check out parislitup.com for more information. It's going to be awesome. Now.
And the few times I did it, I understood that actually it's better not to have the text in advance. It's better to be sitting there and just reading it and do it spontaneously because you get better inflection. If you think about it too much, so I tried for tonight not to practice too much, but I did practice.
You did practice, but you didn't practice too much?
I hope.
Yeah.
There's some stuff that's kind of hard to say.
Okay. So what do you do for fun?
Oh, for fun. I go around Paris and I look for unusual markets and food products. I love to cook.
You like to cook?
And Paris is, food heaven. So
Yeah.
I
What's
like
better,
food.
French cookie or American cookie?
No, God. I've been living here for 30 years, no contest. And I like to travel around France. I go to the markets. I love going to the south. I love traveling to places in Italy. Rome is great. Barcelona is maybe my favorite other city. If I were moving to Europe 30 years ago today, when I was 30 years old, I'm saying I'm really messing this up. I moved to Europe when I was about 30 years old. If I were doing that today, I would probably pick Barcelona over Paris because it's just such a great city. A lot of things going on.
What's good about Paris?
Oh, it's just beautiful. It's a big city that has great art galleries and jazz clubs and all the things I like, and a low crime rate and gun control, and the wine is cheap, and I can go on and on. The public transportation is great. And now that I've said I can go on and on, let me think of two more.
That was lovely. Thank you.
I try.
And actually, I could not have hoped, and I think David could not have hoped for a better warm-up act. And it wasn't deliberate, David. I'm sorry about that. Maybe I'm not sorry. I think maybe it will be a seamless segue onto your. Anyway, our featured reader of the evening is David. I'm going to kill you for that. Is David Jaggard. He is a funny man, humorist, satirist. It can be found on my. Are you still on My French Life?
No.
No. Bastards.
ParisUpdate.com.
ParisUpdate.com.
Everybody got it?
Underwater.
I can't say that like that. Anyway, David Jaggard, come up and over the stage. Give him a cheer! In the back, come on, give a cheer!
I write a regular humor column on ParisUpdate.com called C'est Ironique. I say this every time. I should just get it tattooed on my forehead and save the breath. The reason I'm here tonight, though, the reason I asked, which is probably not the verb that Kate and Emily and Jason would pick, but I asked to be featured readers because I have a book out of my earlier satire pieces.
David,
And it's actually a big book. It's only an e-book. Quorum of One. Quorum of One is the name of my satire site, which I discontinued when I started writing C'est Ironique on ParisUpdate.com in 2011, starting, as you can see, in 1998. I actually started writing satire when I was 3 years old.
Wow, amazing.
And so I'm going to read a piece from the book, which is pretty self-explanatory, and it's called, hang on.
Are you going to read onwards from 3 years old? Are we going to hear you at 3 years old?
This is from experience considerably after 3 years old. The title is Honesty in Personal Advertising. Likes fancy restaurants and trendy nightclubs. Very attractive, sexy young woman seeks unattached man for evenings out. Maybe more if every single little detail is exactly perfect, according to my unannounced and constantly changing personal criteria. Write to reference 3053 in care of this publication. I said, maybe. Have you got what it takes? Exceedingly handsome, financially independent man in his mid-40s seeks Miss Right. Must be able to pull her own weight, handle herself with aplomb in tricky situations, talk her way out of big trouble with difficult people, win difficult people over to her way of thinking, and save the day in a life or death emergency. Our first date will be a test of all those things, and if we stay together, pop quizzes will arise from time to time when you pick us. Write to reference 3162 in care of this publication. Sense of humor a must. Calling all men. Hey, all you guys out there. I don't care how old you are, what you look like, what your race or religion is, how much money you have, how much you weigh, or whether you have a nice personality or not. Just leave me alone. Under no circumstances respond to reference 0163. And don't look at me like that either. Schlepping beauty seeks Prince Charming. A little aside, these are all obviously pastiches of people that I've known over the years. I was surprised the number of my friends when this was published who contacted me and said, oh, that one was based on me. Youngish, prettyish woman, shallowish, tired of the endless, unrelenting stream of guys who say they're not ready to commit. And then, seems like they all get married about 6 months after we break up. Anyway, I'd like to find a guy who's really ready to give all of his love right now and keep on giving and giving and giving it. A guy who's not necessarily rich or anything, but who can support me no problem and won't get his jockeys all in a sheepshank if I blow a few hundred on clothes now and then. A guy who will be ready to rear my children in case I might ever someday maybe decide I want any. A guy who'll stand by me through hard times, illness, stress, migraines, and inexplicable mood swings. A guy who can wait up already for like 5 or 10 minutes while I'm getting ready to go out. A guy who wouldn't even think in his dreams of dreaming of thinking of another woman. A guy who knows what I want even before I do and gets it for me on the double. Who knows how to show me a good time even when I don't feel like doing anything. And isn't too manly to wait on me hand and foot. Why can't I find a guy like that? Write to reference 3935. Go on, show my friends they're wrong. Looking for that extra special someone. Are you that 1 in a million? The lucky woman selected from among the thousands who respond to this ad will be swept away to a magical dreamland where she is Her Majesty, the all-powerful Empress, and I am her dutiful servant, throwing myself at her feet, asking only to fulfill her every whim and desire. Then, after about 3 days of that, she can start making all the meals, doing all the shopping and housework, picking up my dirty socks and toenail clippings from wherever I happen to drop them, pulling my hair out of the shower drain, and going around the house, turning off all the appliances, lights, and faucets that I leave on if I feel like it. Sometimes I don't flush the toilet either. Take it or leave it at reference 3766. Yes, it'll have to be your place because I live with my parents. She wants a stand-up kind of guy. Young woman seeks handsome man, 35 to 40 years old, who is willing to take the blame for everything. We don't agree on something, I win. We have an argument, you lose. Then you apologize. You are responsible for anything that goes wrong, no matter how inconsequential, and any unpleasantness, no matter how slight, including that caused by other people, unforeseen circumstances, acts of God, and the weather. If you can't take the heat, don't respond to reference 3560. No phonies, please. Last man on earth. Take a look at this face. Of course, you can't see me here in this ad, but you know what I mean. Any woman would give her right arm to have a guy this good looking, right? Well, guess again, because otherwise, why would I be running a personal? Truth be told, I'm a selfish, lazy, irresponsible, substance-dependent, violence-prone, emotional 3-year-old looking for a woman who's willing to work 2 jobs to support me while I lie around the house chain-smoking and watching TV all day when I'm not out cheating on her. Could that be you? Reference 2903. Hey, I can't help it. It's just the way I am. Love is never having to say, officer. Do you believe in love at first sight? Well, this 34-year-old unmarried, non-smoking man sure does. Maybe I could fall in love with you, a pretty, non-smoking woman, 25 to 35, preferably blonde. And what is love? Love is being ready to do anything, to win the heart of my beloved. Love is dropping whatever else I'm doing, canceling all my appointments, quitting my job to spend 24 hours a day seeking that ultimate celestial paradise, letting nothing get in the way of my quest for happiness, never taking no for an answer, going to any lengths to convince her of my undying devotion, never deterred by any social, logistical, or legal stumbling blocks that she might throw in my way just to test my determination, seeking her out wherever she might playfully try to hide, showing her over and over how far I'm prepared to go, to what extent I'm willing to put everything on the line, even if it means resisting arrest, all just to prove to her that she is the only one I can ever truly love, pursuing her relentlessly, 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 until she loves me back, or until I get interested in someone else. Why don't we get together and see what happens? Reference 3238 in care of this publication. On second thought, don't even bother answering the ad. I'll find you. Talk's a good game. Hauntingly beautiful young lady, breathtaking figure, seeks man, age and looks no object, who is willing to sit for hours and hours upon end listening to my ill-founded, utterly deluded theories and irrational beliefs about virtually everything in exchange for a 23% chance of getting me in the sack afterwards. The right man must be willing to grin and nod his head like an oil well while pretending, when he can get a word in edgewise, to agree with me wholeheartedly like we're some kind of long-lost soulmates. Right to reference 2557. Statistics verified by Gallup International. Good time guy. Man, late 20s, seeks woman who likes what I like. I like good food, good conversation, good music, good movies, nice weather, being in a good mood, and having a good time. For Christ's sake, who doesn't? What I really like is sex, 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 and more sex. Right to reference 1033. Not you, Sonia. To place your personal, simply mail us the text of your ad along with a check for $1 per word made out to the order of editor, this publication. Excess of employees of this publication must also enclose an additional check for $1 million. This publication cannot be held liable for any misleading claims, disappointments, broken dates, broken dreams, broken condoms, boring dinners, murders, or screenplays about serial killers that may result from the publication of these ads.
Gentlemen, we are here for a second round of Paris It Up, but I think we are missing some key people from outside. Does anyone know any of the layabouts hanging out outside? No? If you don't, can someone close that door and shut them out forever? Close that door and shut them out forever? Wait, there's a very nice looking lady coming.
What was the worst performance you ever had?
At another reading, Anglophone open mic night in Paris, I read another excerpt from my Quorum of One book that's parodies of the ends of famous surprise-ending short stories from American literature. And I got halfway through and I wasn't getting any laughs at all, and I realized 60% of the audience are Brits, are young British kids under 30. They've never read Gift of the Magi by O. Henry, The Necklace by Maupassant, The Man Who Had No Eyes by McKinley Cantor, and I end with an excerpt, a parody of the end of Richard Cory by Edward Arlington Robinson, that stupid poem that Simon and Garfunkel made a song out of. They didn't even know that, and so I died that day. I really died.
What was the best performance you ever had?
I was surprised. It was at the same place. I was reading another piece from that book, a parody of the idea of air travel being possible in the Middle Ages, and for some reason the audience was with me. I got a lot of laughs that night, so that went really well. You never know with this kind of reading.
Vladimir, I think he needs a little bit of help with closing the door. Vlad?
Vlad, bien. Come the fuck
He's
out.
actually worked here before. Round of applause! Yay! Excellent. On that note, let us get started with the second round of Paris It Up's Thursday's open mic. Okay, so you heard him in the first half. He's going to come. Right, okay, you didn't manage to close the door, so you certainly don't have the right to talk during what I'm talking. We're going to have David Jaggard up for another poem. Come to the stage, Monsieur.
Not a poem, so it's not a poem. This is another satire piece from my book, Quorum of One, which I forgot to mention is it's an ebook. It's cheap, and it's on Amazon and iBooks and just about everywhere that you can buy ebooks. And it's under $10. They'll be selling copies.
What's it called?
Quorum of One.
Okay.
This is another excerpt from it. A little explanation. I know that everybody's had this experience, but it used to really gall me when I was a little boy, and I had to take orders from not very intelligent grown-ups, who thought that suffering and toil was the best way to build character, you know, those kind of people. And so these bitter memories took form over the years in this piece. The premise is, if the head counselor at my old summer camp wrote a household Q&A column. Okay? Question. The other day I left an open bowl of barbecue sauce in the fridge and it made all of my fruits and dairy products taste like garlic. What can I do to protect delicate foods from a penetrating odor when I'm out of plastic cling wrap? Answer. Go out and buy some. What's the big deal? Question. Hi. Can you tell me the easiest way to get baked on food residues off a roasting pan? Is steel wool best? Answer. You think life is supposed to be easy? The way to get residues off a pan is to get your butt off the Barcalounger and scrub that thing until I can see my reflection in it. Show some elbow grease, and you can use a mascara brush for all I care. Question. How can I get a soy sauce stain off a white leather couch? Answer. Oh, for Christ's sake! You spilled soy sauce on the couch? What were you doing? Binging on takeout in front of the boob tube instead of eating a home-cooked meal at the table with your family? Jeez Louise, I'm not even going to answer this one. You can just get a summer job like I did and earn the money to buy a new couch. How do you like them apples, slobby slobberson? Question. After a trip to the barber shop, I always have lots of little hairs stuck to the inside of my collar and t-shirt, and the itching and chafing drive me nuts. Is there any way to remedy this besides just taking a shower and changing clothes? Answer. No. What's the matter? Can't take a little itching once in a while? Learn to live with it, bub. By the way, you should get your hair cut more often. Question. I broke my grandmother's best china serving platter, which I borrowed for a dinner party. It's a straight, clean break, and I'm hoping I can glue it back together so that she won't notice. What kind of glue is best for porcelain? Answer. Whoa, whoa, whoa! You think I'm going to help you lie to your grandmother? I'm ashamed of you. You march right over there right now, tell her what you did, and offer to replace the platter out of your own savings. Then drop and give me 50. Question. Dandelions seem to be taking over my entire lawn. What's the best way to kill them and keep them from growing back? Answer. Hey! Ever hear of a little thing called work? I want to see you out there front and center in that yard at 0600 hours, yanking those dandelions out by the roots. Then seal them in a trash bag and bury it 5 feet deep, at least 400 yards from your lawn. Repeat this every 3 days and you won't have any damn weeds. Pardon my French. Question. I accidentally cut my thumb pretty badly while carving a chicken with a steak knife. Would it be safer to use one of those big electric knives, even for smaller fowl like chicken? Answer. Okay, don't tell me, let me guess. You were goofing off with the knife, horsing around to impress your buddies, right? Well, now you see what happens when you don't treat tools with respect. You're lucky you didn't slice that thumb right clean zango off. As for an electric knife, you can't have one until you've proven to me that you can be trusted to use it safely. All right, everybody, listen up. Announcement time. We've been getting a lot of letters asking how to improve home security without investing in an expensive alarm system. So, we're going to have a little contest. I want everybody to work out a way to protect their home against intruders and terrorists using nothing but a sharp stick, an empty coffee can, 2 C batteries, a corn cob, and 5 yards of GIMP. Submit your projects by Thursday, and we'll choose the best ones. And we've got some pretty good prizes, too. First prize, a watermelon. Second prize, a home security alarm system. Sound good? It sure is, but you're not going to win anything just sitting there. Get the lead out. Come on, let's move it, move it, move it! Okay, see you next week. Dismissed.
Oh boy, incredibly talented. I'm going to have some hugs afterwards. Anyway, so let us... Ready now?
Yeah.
Let us finish this wonderful evening, and thank you so much for coming as well, with our fabulous featured leader of this evening. We want to thank him as well. Thank you, David, for coming here and
My pleasure.
reading for us. And you're not a poet, you are a satirist writer. I can't say writer.
ParisUpdate.com.
A photographer and a publicist.
Alright, so let's give a big round of applause for the last week we've been here.
Sorry.
Eh oh, les barman. Flou. Eh oh.
Because I never tire of saying I'm not a poet, but I have a couple of pieces that are sort of vaguely like poetry, except that they differ a lot from the poems that we've heard here tonight, in that they are completely and utterly devoid of any meaning whatsoever.
Good. Yeah, good.
The first one is called I Had a Dog. I had a dog, and the dog had a bone, and the bone had a way of cropping up in my home, on the rug, on the floor, by the TV, by the chair, by the table, by the door, where I could trip over it. I had a dog, and the dog had a bed, and the bed had a blanket, and the blanket had a hole and a rip and a stain and an edge that was frayed and a corner that was chewed and a seam that was loose and a smell that was evil, and it had dog hair all over it. But the dog didn't seem to mind, so I didn't either. I had a dog, and the dog had a bowl, and the bowl had some little bits of food that were left, that were old, that were dried, that were hardened, that were darkened, that were stuck to the sides and the bottom, and probably had germs, bacteria, dog spit, and whatnot infesting it. But I didn't see any, so I figured, what the hell. I had a dog, and the dog had a ball, and the ball had a bell, and the bell had a sound that really got on my nerves, even though it wasn't too loud or harsh or anything. It's just that I'd hear it all the time when I was trying to read or sleep or concentrate or something, and it'd drive me nuts, like a dripping faucet or something. Anyway, I had a dog, and the dog had a bark, and the bark had the ability to wake the whole block in the middle of the night. Any time of the day, he would growl, he would whine, he would yelp, he would yammer, he would howl, he would bellow, he would howl. I had a dog, and the dog had a bark, and the bark had the ability to wake the whole block in the middle of the night. Any time of the day, he would growl, he would whine, he would yelp, he would yammer, he would howl, he would bellow, he would yell, he would howl, he would gulp, he would choke, he would hack, he would sputter, he would shudder, he would wail at the mailman, at the traffic, at the moon, at the phone, at the dark, at the wind, at the thunder, at the snow, at the doorbell, at the clock, at the drop of a plate, or the slightest provocation, but he never bit anybody, except my sister's boyfriend, who he just didn't like for some reason. I had a dog, and the dog had a bad habit of jumping up on me and getting his usually filthy paws on my clothes and his tongue on my face and his breath in my nose, and furthermore, he almost always did this when I was dressed up or carrying something fragile. Like a lamp, like a bottle, like a bucket full of water, or a cup of hot coffee, or a cup of boiling tea, or a baby, or like that time I was wearing my white suit and carrying a tray full of glasses full of red wine in one hand and a garbage bag in the other. I had a dog, and the dog had a brand of a biscuit that he loved, that he craved, that he ate by the handful, by the dozen, by the box, by the carton, by the case, and he also ate cake, pie, bread, soup, eggs, cheese, flour, rice, beans, corn, toast, jam, jelly, honey, cookies, brownies, donuts, muffins, raisins, olives, pickles, peanuts, pizza, popcorn, lobster, oysters, apples, noodles, lettuce, bacon, ice cream, garlic, pancakes, pudding, pasta, pastry, mustard, chocolate, chewing gum, and butter, which is why I put a lock on the door of the cupboard, because the dog had learned to jump up, hit the latch, and get to the butter dish, and then he'd go drink out of the toilet. I had a dog, and the dog had a brain, and the brain had a thought that he ought to run away.
Oh.
This is a companion piece I did here once already. Also involves slamming.
Is your phone going to be there? Yeah.
And it's not only devoid of all meaning, but it's especially inappropriate for a gathering of Anglophone poets in Paris, because it's called Stay Where You're Born, Stay Right Where God Put Ya. Never let anything ever uproot ya. None of this roaming all over creation. Stay in your hometown, county, state, nation. Stay where you're born, stay where the doc slapped ya. Stay where the babysitter fed, burped, and napped ya. If your name's Grimes, be content with what Grimes owns. Don't wreck your watch crossing into new time zones. Stay where you're born, stay where your mom nursed you. Stay where the fella in the black robe immersed you. Keep the same sky above you and the same ground below you. Stay where the cops and the shopkeepers know you. Stay where you're born, stay where your dad raised you. Stay where your first taste of ice cream amazed you. Once you get it in your head to migrate like a duck, you step outside your watershed and then you're out of luck. You're everywhere a stranger and the local folks are rude. You find little bits of foreign matter in your food. The water makes you sick and you start puking in the gutter. You're lost and no one understands a single word you utter. Get the wallet from your pocket and the bracelet from your wrist picked. Now why'd you ever leave your congressional district? Stay where you're born, stay where the stork dropped you. Stay where the bully in the neighborhood bopped you. Going far away is simply crying out for trouble. You're gonna come back home and find your house reduced to rubble. Burglars busted in and all your valuables are gone. The place is full of squatters and they're pissing on the lawn. Dogs sick, plants dead, freezers frosted shut. All the windows broken and the telephone's been cut. Wet graffiti on the porch makes you fall and break your hip. Otherwise, Odysseus, how was your trip? Stay where you're born, right where we can find you. Stay where there's ancestral history behind you. Where you got brothers and aunts by the shipload. Reduces your chance of forgetting your zip code. Stay where you're born, don't mess with Mom Nature. Stay when you're infantile, adolescent, and mature. Don't be a globetrotter, pilgrim, or crusader. Don't befriend a Bedouin, a carny, or invader. Don't ride the waves, rails, wheels, or spokes. Plug your ears when you hear traveling salesman jokes. Give refugees, fugitives, and exile short shrift. Refuse to participate in continental drift. Don't go to hell, heck, blazes, or sea. Don't locomotive ground sound or any other speed. Don't run on gas, steam, diesel, or toenails. Don't go to Canterbury, tails or no tails. Unless, of course, you're from Canterbury. In which case, don't shoot the rapids, don't go over the falls. Don't explore the wilderness and don't return its calls. Don't hop a freighter and don't skip your bail. Don't jump the border and don't blaze the trail. Don't hit the road, don't make like a tree. Don't sail the ocean and don't cross the sea. Don't swim the channel and don't round the horn. Just stand pat, sit tight, stay where you're born.
Thank you, sweetheart. It was also an incredible. Right, this was Paris. Oh, wait. Actually, it's the barman that are giving the most noise here. Actually, barman or ex-barman. Anyway, this was Emily, one of your hosts of Paris Is Up. We are here every Thursday, so we hope to see you again sometime, and it was an absolute pleasure. I hope to see you sometime soon. Have a lovely night, and I'll maybe see you outside.